be on it.
Well, you are.
I'm not going to be on it.
You're in it.
I'm not going to be in it.
Okay, well, welcome to married life. She and I are working on a starter for her Acura 2004. And we've got Daisy with us today. This is the starter that came out of it. It is a Mitsuba starter. Sorry about the fast-moving camera angles here. And what's going on with this is we wore it out. Her car has, I think, just around 190,000 miles. And we can fix this starter. It's very, very expensive. I think it's $300 or $400. We found a replacement unit for it at the local O'Reilly's, which of course I'm not happy with. So I'm going to go ahead and do a kind of a hillbilly overhaul on this thing, and I'll show you how that all works. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Jennifer, my trusty assistant, and you guys can see me take it apart. All right. So we're taking this apart. I'm going to take the B+ connection off of this, and then there we go. This comes up off of here. All right. And then I'm going to put this in the vise. This is a gear reduction type starter, and I'm going to have to, I've already loosened these bolts. I actually put it back together, decided I would make a video out of this, so here we go. All right, this end cap has a bronze bushing in it. I'm going to clean that and re-lubricate it before I put it together. This part that I'm taking off right now has the magnets in it for the field. These are permanent magnets. You can see that there's 6 of them. Can you kind of see the angle there? So there's 6 magnets there. All right. Additionally, this has this part on it's called a labyrinth tube, and its job is to let air in and out without letting bugs and other stuff in. This is the armature. The armature I'm going to go ahead and remove, and then you can see the brushes right here. Now you see how these brushes are much longer than those brushes? Well, these are the positive brushes and these are the ground or earth brushes. The positive ones have worn out first, and this thing was doing what I like to call dragging. It was cranking over very, very slowly, and we're going to fix that by replacing the brushes. So here we go. This is the components that we bought. You can see that this is the Hong Kong Fooey edition. $13.40. Gonna make this thing well, just about as good as new. All right, well, at least that's what I am gonna believe. Okay, all right. So this guy, the armature, has a segmented part on it called a commutator. Every time this thing rotates, it makes a connection with a different brush, and it turns on essentially a different set of electromagnets in here. So you can think of this as a spinning electromagnet, and those interact with the permanent magnets in this guy right here, okay, the field magnets. So the fact that these magnets want to either attract or repel away from those is what makes this thing turn. Additionally, it has a pretty small gear on it. This gear has, I don't know, I haven't counted it. It looks like maybe 10 teeth on it. And it drives what's known as a planetary gear set. So this is not a direct drive starter. This is known as a gear reduction starter. Pause. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove this rubber boot off of here. And then this guy should come up, except for the fact that it has this clip on it that attaches to the part that actually pulls down and creates a connection. So in order to get this off, I'm going to actually go ahead and I'll see if I can pry it off with pliers. In all likelihood, it may need to be cut, so I'm going to grab these side cutters and I'll try my luck at getting this off without breaking it. But they did give me a new one. I always like to see if I can save a part just in case I drop one or something goes wrong for me. Looks like that would, if I straightened it out a little bit, that could be usable again. All right, so this has a spring on it, and it has a washer right here. Let's see if I get that off of there. Here's the washer. That actually makes an electrical connection between here and here. So when you turn the ignition switch over, it sends a current to this, which pulls this down. There's a solenoid down there, and it makes this washer make a connection between here and here. That's what makes it go round and round and round. Okay, we've done that. Remove this brush plate, and now you can see my planetary gear set. So this is the sun gear. These are the planets, and this is the annulus or ring gear. All right. So the relationship of those creates a gear reduction, and it's a really strong gear set. So you can see that if I turn this, how that makes the end gear, the pinion gear on the starter turn. So there's a pretty decent gear reduction there. I considered doing the math on it and going all nerd on you guys, but I thought, nobody really cares. So, so there is a reasonable gear reduction here. I imagine that it's probably something like a 4-to-1 or something about like that. 4 times this turning to that turning once. And then this has about 10 teeth on it, and it engages with the ring gear on the torque converter, which has 119 teeth on it. So if you did a little bit of math there, that'd be what, about a 12-to-1 gear ratio on this. This has to turn 12 times to turn your engine once. This has to turn 4 times. So you could say that this has to turn 48 times to turn the engine 1 revolution. Something like that. Doesn't really matter. Useless fun facts. All right. So I'm going to have her go ahead and pause it, but this is going to come apart. I'm just going to re-lubricate these gears, and then we're going to go back together with it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to clean up the commutator before I put this thing back together. I'm using a previously used Scotch-Brite. Scotch-Brite actually does have some abrasives in it, and it's best if you can avoid leaving abrasives on this when you're through with it. So I'll hit it with some cleaner before I put it back together. You can see that we've brightened that up quite a bit. This actually has an insulator in between here. Back in the day, before everything was synthetic, that used to be mica that went in between those. That's what I was taught back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. All right. I'm going to clean this up real quick. Whoa! I'm going to shoot that right in my eye because it feels good. Okay. Yeah, this stuff's not much good for you, but I'll get it dried off. Okay. And we'll get this thing put back together. All right. So here's my little component. I'll set it down. And then, let's see. I had taken this annulus out of here, cleaned it up and lubricated it. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall it. Down here you can see that this is part of the unit that makes the pinion gear come out. So if I push on this, you can see the pinion gear kind of come out there. So there's 2 things that make it work. It's thrown out by the spinning motion, and it's the solenoid pulls it down as well. All right. Okay, so I'm going to clean all those parts up, and we'll put this back together. All right, this is going in here. By rights, probably should replace the pinion and the overrunning clutch, but like I said, this is a hillbilly overhaul, not a complete overhaul. All right, so here we go, getting that down in there. That's about right. Okay, this is a, let's see, where did my planetary carrier go? All right, grab this. I probably should have done a nicer job of cleaning that up before I had it all filmed here, but that's all right. You guys are patient with me. I appreciate it. So this is the planetary carrier unit. So I will clean that up, nuke it with a little bit of brake cleaner, and then I'll re-grease these. So I'm using a high temp grease for this. This is Honda high temp urea grease. I'm sure you could get away with using other grease, but I'm of a mind to think that this is the higher quality stuff, so that's what I'm doing. So there we are. Here are our pinion gears. They're going to get put on here. Okay, just like this. I'm calling them pinion gears and planets, and I'm interchanging the terminology. So by rights, they're called planets or pinions, and they live on the carrier unit, and they engage with the outer part, which is the ring gear, or annulus, some people call it. Okay, so that sits down in there just like so. And now it's time for me to set the new brushes on there. All right, so here's our new brush kit. Here's our old brush kit. And those brushes don't look a whole lot longer, but the fact is they are considerably longer. I just have these springs right now are not engaged. So when the springs are engaged, they'll push those in. But you can see how long that brush is. That is what it's like when it's new. And these ones are desperately short and very wore out, and they're headed for the junk pile. All right. So that was the problem with this starter, was that the brushes were too short. So we're going to set this guy on here. Okay. This plate makes a connection with the outside housing. How the hell? Daisy just knocked something over. She was totally struggling over there. It was not pretty. Are you okay? Daisy, are you okay? Are you retarded? What's going on with you, huh? Okay, we're going to install the switch part of the contacts here for the solenoid. Remember, we had that washer, and then spring, and then this nifty clip right here. They did give me a nice brand new one, so I'm going to install it. It has a groove in there that it goes down to, and I'll see if I can push it on by hand. And if I can't, then I'll probably grab a small socket, push it the rest of the way. Okay. You still recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm almost there. There. I heard it go click onto the groove there, so I have that installed properly. That'll make a connection. All right. So we've installed our new brushes. I'm going to set this armature back on top of here. And in order to get this thing down on there, I will have to pull each one of these brushes back by using this wire right here. And there we go. Getting there. Okay. All right, and then we're not done yet. We have to push these springs down. So those springs right there, they have to get pushed down. Okay, then they will actually be putting pressure on the brushes now. And then we're going to have a fully functioning, hillbilly overhauled Mitsuba starter for an Acura TSX. Okay, so that works. Everything turns nicely. When I go to put this guy back on here, I'm going to give it a little bath first before I put it all together. But when I go to put it on, I want to kind of hold this down because the magnet's going to want to pull this up out of the brushes, which is just makes more work for you. So I would be careful about that. Okay. That works for me. Looks reasonably clean. Okay, like I said, I'm going to hold this And then I'm gonna, let's see, where does that, right to there. That groove lines up there. I don't know if you could tell how it wanted to pull itself down onto there. But there we are, that's on there. And now it's time for me to clean up this plate and put some nice clean grease in here. By rights, those bushings probably should be replaced, but once again, hillbilly overhaul, so it's not getting everything. All right, let's see if I can grab that 7mm. $8mm. Okay, I'm not a big fan of over tightening these things. I'm sure there's a torque spec somewhere for that. I'll put a dot of paint on each one of those to prevent that from turning. But we're all set. I got to put my insulator on this thing and I think we're good. So that's this guy right here. And it does look like probably I need to loosen those bolts so that'll go on there properly. I'll go ahead and do that. Well, at least the neighbor dogs are barking the whole time. Keeps it interesting, right? Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a rookie video if I didn't do things a bit out of order, right? So here we go. I can take this thing back off. See, I've got plenty of grease in there. Probably want to get some of that excess out of there. Okay. And I'm just going to put that part on there. Also looks like I got a bit of stuff out of that housing. All right, so I'll set that back on there. You ever get the feeling somebody gave you parts that weren't quite right? That's precisely what just happened. So I think I'll go ahead and use the parts that it came with. Put that on backwards somehow. Looks good. Ish. Okay, so what I ended up learning was that my Hong Kong Fooey brush pack was a little bit different design than my other one. So instead of using my factory part, I did have to use the replacement component. So I have that installed on there, and this one is, that's it. We're done with that one. All right. So So see if I can get this put back together. Something like that. Put the lid on it. And I'll try and get my bracket back on here. This bracket is just for some wiring harness stuff. All right, so I will locate a battery, and I'll show you guys that this works. Looks like I do have a battery pack right here. Should I be so lucky that it has a charge in it? Let's see how that goes. Okay. All right. So, save myself a little trouble. I'll put it in here so I don't have a starter run away from me. Daisy, relax. You're killing me. Okay, there we go. And then I need a jumper wire. I'm going to hook this onto this little connection right here. I'm going to touch it down here. And if my battery pack had any power at all, which it evidently does not, then the starter would be going. So let me find a source of power. All right, so it turned out that the jumper wire
I didn't actually have the button pushed when you said I found a different. I came in part way of I found a different source of power or a different cable or something. Like I didn't touch it hard enough. Do you want to redo
That's
it?
enough. My Lord. Redo what?
The last part of that? No.
I don't give a shit. I just want to be done. Because now
She's
I
drooling.
am ready to go in.
Oh, you're not going to work on the truck?
No.
Oh. I thought that's what we were coming out here to do.
I'm here to do this.
Okay.
I told you I was going to make a video.
No, you didn't.
All right, guys, time for the moment of truth. We got the thing all put together, and I'm going to go ahead and operate this thing. Turn this around. Okay, so I have a jump box here on my super messy workbench, and this is the location where the solenoid gets energized, so I'm going to go ahead and give it power. This is a, I guess you'd call it a fused jumper wire, but it actually has a 15 amp circuit breaker in it. And here we go. I'm going to touch that to there. And we're working. All right. So I painted one tooth on that gear yellow. There are, in fact, 9 teeth on that. And I did a little bit of math on the planetary gear set. Ended up being a little bit more than a 5-to-1 gear ratio for the turns of the armature to the turns of the actual output pinion drive there. And then there's 9 teeth on that to 119 teeth on the torque converter. So that translates into probably close to a 13-to-1 gear ratio. Anyway, none of that really is very important, but kind of fun facts for you. So hopefully you learned how to fix this. Should be a pretty straightforward fix for you. Getting that in and out of the 04 TSX that came out of is not a lot of fun. I could probably make a video on that at some point. It doesn't require a lift. It can all be done on the ground. It's just got a couple of bolts that are a little tough to get to. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. Like the video and subscribe. Thank you very much.